And I think this gentleman here needs no introduction at all. Woody.
I'm the oldest one.
Woody, we're going to start off with you. You're not a stranger here to the SS Norway. You've been here a little...
No, that's right. I was here last season, and it's lovely to be back. It's great.
And the nice thing we want to talk about is your 50th anniversary as a band leader.
Yes,
let's talk about that.
Coming up next year in 86. We started the band, the first band, in 1936, and our first job was Roseland Ballroom. And the following season, Bill Basie came up from Kansas City, and we worked opposite each other. So it was quite a good thing for a young band starting out. And we were both young men with young bands.
What, are you going to do anything special, any commemorative stuff next year? Or?
Well, I'm planning a 50th anniversary kind of concert and party, of course. And we hope to, I think we will hold it at the Hollywood Bowl this time around, and it'll probably be the last of the season there. And we hope to have the LA Philharmonic along with our band. And well, I'm having two soloists who are guests will be our guests. And they are a wonderful, young, legit clarinetist, a very wonderful, warm playing clarinetist by the name of Richard Stoltzman. And he's appeared around the world with all the major orchestras. He's quite a player. And one of the main reasons that I'm having him as a guest because of his great artistry, but also we will be performing the Stravinsky piece that Igor Stravinsky wrote for our band back in the 40s called Ebony Concerto. So Richard will play my solo, and I'm hoping to have Wynton Marsalis there to play Pete Condoli's solo so we can tell how it should have sounded the first time. But it should be fun.
With your new band, Woody, you have a lot of youth in your band. How do you go about selecting the great musicians of today?
Well, they more or less select themselves. We have a strange system, but it seems they work for us. When we have a shortage of someone in a section, I go to the members of that section and ask them to suggest whom we might bring onto the band. And most times it's worked out beautifully, and we haven't had to send but one or two back over a long period of years now. But I think it's due to the educational system to a great degree. The young players are capable of playing practically anything if you put it upon them. So it makes it much easier for an old guy like me, you know.
I
guess we can direct this to Woody. We followed you for 50 years. And we remember the days of Norman Granz. And I remembered your comments yesterday about Coleman Hawkins and Lester Young.
Yeah.
Calls to mind Flip Phillips and the wild full-out stuff from the Grant's years of Lady Be Good, How High the Moon.
Yeah.
We don't hear much of that any longer. Illinois Jacquette, they all seem to be gone, and the style of people like Bill Harris, this full-out, free, wild, almost combative kind of jazz is kind of gone. And I just wondered, are there places that it is being played, or is it really gone?
Well, it's very difficult to say. I think there's some people who are young people who are playing today that will be heard in the future and be looked upon as the important people in jazz of this whole area and era. But you know, you can't replace anybody, really. We're all individuals, and that's really, I think, the answer. There will be some great people, there's great young people on the scene today, and there'll be more and more of them because of schools like Berkeley and Eastman and so many of the very good programs going on. And I think I've got 15 guys that prove that the educational system really works. I'm very proud of them.
Well, the field of jazz music is as the Europeans say, it's the only culture that America has brought to the world.
That's right.
And I believe that. And it's going to be one of those things, if we don't keep it moving, we're going to lose a bit of our heritage, I think.
Yeah.
Jazz music is, I'm sure, is here to stay. As it's been proven by the passengers here on board the ship that you guys, every time you start playing, this place is super packed. You can't get in. So that's great. Any other questions here out in the audience there for these
I'm
gentlemen?
a San Franciscan, Woody, and I remember hearing about you playing with Tom Guerin's band.
Yeah, I
in
did.
1933, and I know who one of the other Reed men was. Maybe the people would like to know who it was.
Tony Martin was one of the saxophone players in that band.
Al
and
Morris was his name then, right?
Al Morris.
Right.
And that was his maiden name. And then he was, we also had a girl singer by the name of Jenny Sims, who was with our band before she joined Kay Kaiser. So it was kind of an interesting group, and we, and I guess I was hired because I could sing and dance. I don't know.
Woody, while we're waiting for someone else to raise their hand out there, how does it feel to be on the road for 50 years? I mean, how do you keep yourself together and your family together after 50 years of traveling all over the world?
Of course, I'm on my own, so to speak, now, because I lost my wife 3 years ago after 46 years of marriage, and she traveled whenever she could a great deal with me, as Major can attest to this. In South America, they were the two white knuckle flyers on the ships. My wife and Major, and they'd hold hands in the middle of the aisle and go into a seance, I think. I'm not sure.
You didn't like those flights back in those days, right?
Well, you know, some of the aircraft that we flew on was, it was old, I guess, old aircraft bought by the countries that we were in. And the refurbishing meant that the holes where the seats was still a hole going, and we were flying over hostile Indians and desert. So
there were a lot of things to think about.
They were probably the original DC-1s.
It was unsafe flying conditions.
The usual joke is they would taxi across the field. You'd get out and get in a bus and travel the rest of the way.
Right.
Okay. I think we have a question over here.
Yeah, one question for Woody. When the big band, all of the big bands kind of died in the late 50s, how did you hang in there?
Well, there were several of us that hung in there. There was Basie's band, naturally, and Duke was still going strong. And so I had an incentive to want to be around, and even though things were terribly rough for a long time, I just hung in there and got into the debt I'm in today. You know, it's lovely.
That was planned, right? To get in
It was more or less planned. The IRS takes that attitude that it was planned.
Down front.
I'm a guy coming from Switzerland. Last year you have been with the big band in Switzerland with a great success. This year you left the big band in United States, came over with some beautiful musicians, but not a big band. Why this? You are one of the best and big band.
It was a very good idea, I think, of coming over with a group of all-stars, because we had wonderful players. And not many people have ever seen me or heard me in a small group context, although I was always had a small group within our band years ago. And I enjoyed it immensely, and but I would like once again in the future to be back in Switzerland with the big band, and it's up to people like Mr. Ween, who has short arms. But other than that, he's a nice man. You know him, don't you?
We really got his act together. He got these answers.
This is Buddy Tate on the end. This is Major Holly, Woody Herman, and Gary Burton. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you.